I don't know how much we spoke to you last night after the meal, but I don't think we did much. I think the last you were seeing us, we were at the Saratoga Springs bus stop. We got a bus. I know it sounds really lazy because you can walk from Saratoga Springs to Disney Springs, but
it was cold.
It was chilly last night. So we got a bus from Saratoga Springs to Disney Springs, and then a bus from Disney Springs to Animal Kingdom Lodge. So yeah, and then we came back to the room and literally got into bed, went to sleep, and we kind of let ourselves just lay in until we woke up naturally this morning. I woke up before David, I normally do anyway, and then I woke him up just because I was going to get a hot chocolate. I asked him if he wanted a coffee, and he said yes. And then we've just kind of slowly, leisurely got ready this morning. We are going to Epcot today, and obviously we were there yesterday afternoon, so we're gonna enjoy the festival a bit more, snack around the world, get some drinks, and then we have got Toppolino'S Terrace for dinner tonight. So it's our first signature meal of the trip. It's Disney World's newest kind of signature restaurant. We're really, really excited to try it. From looking at the menu, there's so much that both of us would really, really like. So very much looking forward to it. David's just putting his top on. Oh, I put it in the bottom of the cupboard. David's just putting his top on.
Alright, if I put it on, let's see how much.
And then we are going to Epcot. We'll catch up with you. Anyway, we're in Epcot now, and we've just had a ham and cheese croissant and a Nutella filled donut from the France Pavilion. It's a beignet. Honestly, two of the best uses of a snack credit we've used this whole trip. If you like Nutella, get the beignet. If you like hammy cheesy goodness, get the croissant. It was delicious. It's a busy day here in Epcot today, but it's a Saturday and obviously Festival of the Arts is on, so it's to be expected. Anytime there's a festival on, just know that you're going to get a few crowds on a weekend.
Whoa, Susanna, won't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. What do y'all think of our banjo? I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, but for the sea. It rained all night the day I left, the weather it was dry. The sun so hot I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, won't you cry for me? For I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Now here's an American classic from the wonderful world of Walt Disney. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep.
crush from the Voices of Liberty.
No, it's weird when you say it like that.
No, so one of the singers who we've been seeing since maybe 2018, David absolutely loves her voice. And
phenomenal.
Her name's Whitney, and basically when we came in May last year, she just said, we were like, we didn't see you the whole time, and she was like, I just had my son. Literally, we arrived on the 10th of May last year and she had her son on the 12th, so she was on maternity leave. But we've got to have a chat with her and you got a picture, so I'll insert that into the video. But they're so good. If you haven't seen them, come see them.
It never gets boring. Like, we'll probably see it again today.
I mean, we watched the show yesterday, and I think 2 or 3 out of the songs they sang yesterday, but it was just still so good.
It's never the same. It's amazing.
Loved it.
What was it there?
My knickers are on the bed. Sorry. Good evening. We haven't filmed a ton today, so...
Her fault.
Not my fault, you never pick up the camera.
Yeah, I did. I did yesterday.
So, we've had a little nap this evening, just like an hour.
I had about 10 minutes.
And now we are all dressed smart in our little dresses and shirts. And we're heading off for our first signature meal of the trip, which is Toppolino'S Terrace. Really excited to share this with you because this is the newest signature restaurant on Disney World property. They do a character breakfast in the morning, which we're not obviously doing on this trip, but would like to do in the future. But we're doing the meal for dinner tonight, which is a 2-credit meal if you're on the dining plan, and obviously would be expensive if you're paying out of pocket. I'm very excited for this one because we liked a lot on the menu, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we're excited to see it.
I can't remember it, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna head off. Because we can't get directly there, we've got to either go to Epcot or Disney Springs and then on to Riviera from there. So, we'll see you in a bit.
However, the people in the main part of the menu is very...
What do you think of their wine list?
Good. I think I'm going to glass anyway.
We've had a bit of a mad one to get here. We'll tell you guys about it later. Good morning. I wanted to talk a little bit before we went anywhere about our experience at dinner last night. We were going to film something when we got back, but we decided that, like, 1, we were tired, and 2, I think the experience was still quite fresh, so I would rather us, like, have the night to sit, think on it, see if we still feel the same way, which I think we both do. So I want to preface this by saying, if you follow us on Twitter, you will have seen that before we got to the restaurant, we were already in like a bit of a naff mood because we had to obviously take a bus from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Disney Springs to then get a bus to Riviera. We gave ourselves more than enough time, but then when we got to Disney Springs, a Riviera bus took half an hour to arrive, which meant we were running late for our reservation, which wasn't great, which was stressing us out a little bit. The restaurant itself is absolutely beautiful, like the lighting, everything like that. It's a lovely restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah.
We got seated and it took quite a while for our waiter to come and acknowledge us and have a chat with us, give us the menu, fill up our glass with water, everything like that. So that took a little while, and that was a theme that would kind of continue throughout the evening. We then ordered our drinks. I got given the wrong drink. I asked for a Sprite, I got given a Diet Coke. Because I like Diet Coke, I didn't make a fuss about it. And I know some people will be like, oh, you should have just said, but because our waiter was taking quite a long time to get things done, I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna have the drink, I'm thirsty. The mains, I'm gonna say my pasta was lovely. Like, it was really flavourful. The one thing we've said as well, the portions were huge, which isn't something you're always guaranteed with a signature.
Yeah.
But the pasta was lovely, but I wouldn't pay what they were charging for it. It was essentially a pasta dish. It was pasta with a nice kind of mushroomy sauce, I think, or a chicken sauce with literally shredded rotisserie chicken in it and parmesan on top. It wasn't spectacular. And once again, it's difficult not to compare, but I have a pasta dish every time we go to Narcoossee's, and I think pasta is something that could be considered quite simple. And where Narcoossee's kind of elevates their pasta dish that I have to the next level, where I walk out going, wow, that is some of the best pasta I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah, but like even if we
This didn't do that.
if we go like Miller's or someplace and you usually go for a pasta, you're like, yeah, that's great. That's why you always have it.
Yeah.
And I tried a bit of it, and it's like, it's
And considering this is meant to be like pasta, like French and Italian food is meant to be their speciality, and it's all handcrafted. It was good, but it wasn't. I was expecting it to be like the best pasta I've ever had, and I would still say the pasta I've had at Narcoossee's is better. You had the lamb shank.
Now, people might be like, well, your local pub's really good. I was going to say, and I said to Ash last night, it was a lamb shank, and I've had better at my local pub, and I'm in a tiny little village in the middle of nowhere. So it's like,
And our local pub, the food's nice, but it's not like a great pub. Like it's,
but as for the joint and everything like that goes, it wasn't.
You got a little bone as well.
Yeah, that really.
Obviously, in a lamb shank, it gets served on the big bone of the lamb, but then you got in the middle of the meat.
I don't, and bearing in mind, I'm a farmer. I know where the bones are. I know where the joints are. Where that little bone come from, I don't know.
It looked like a fish bone.
It shouldn't have been in there.
Very weird.
Because it is nowhere near for that joint, and it wasn't like a splint or anything like that. It was like I don't know where that bone.
I think as well, like everyone knows, anytime you get a bone in something, like I love fish, I love seafood, and I'm well aware of the fact that you can get bones in salmon and things like that, because sometimes, you know, one just gets missed. But I think everyone knows when you get that bone, it immediately puts you on edge and you don't enjoy the meal as much, because you're then scraping through like, oh, I don't want to get another one. And it wasn't particularly pleasant for you to be sitting in what is considered a fancy restaurant
trying to funnel it out. I didn't, because I had a full mouthful of lamb, so I was like, I couldn't just go into my napkin, because that would have been foul. So I was just trying to sort of like, and it was like, I had points either end, so it was like, and I didn't want to chew. It wasn't nice.
So that was the food. The service, like we've already touched on, was really slow. Our waiter wasn't really attentive at all and just seemed a little bit all over the place.
The problem is we only saw him serving 3 tables and couldn't see where else he was going. And you can see everywhere in that restaurant. He was just disappearing at times.
I don't know if it's how they lay out the table plans for the waiters, because as we said, we couldn't work out any rhyme or reason to what tables the people were waiting. Like there would be, our one would be doing us, the table next to us, and then one right over in the corner, but then there'd be 2 others working some of the ones in between us. So I don't know if they haven't quite worked out how they look after the tables, but, and I don't mean this in a rude way to our waiter, we looked around and some of the other servers looked so attentive, really on it, were providing really good information to the people there. Ours just wasn't doing that. So I don't know if we were unlucky or if he was new. It was it's not the service we've come to expect from, especially at a Signature, from the other places we've been. So that wasn't great. The restaurant itself right now is really busy. We heard one of the other waiters saying to the table next to us that they've been fully booked since they opened. So when I say the atmosphere wasn't as romantic as other, or like lovely as other places we've been to, I think a lot of it was due to noise levels, because it was very crowded. There was a lot of noise. At places like, we're going to keep comparing it, but Narcoossee's is our favourite Signature. There it's a very relaxed atmosphere.
But it's very... They are so similar as well, because like Narcoossee's, you can go see the fireworks from Narcoossee's, and they say like Magic Kingdom fireworks. It's like, but the restaurant is disturbed absolutely zero by external guests that are not in the restaurant, and you know, in guests that are not in the restaurant and guests that are in the restaurant.
This was the problem, wasn't it?
And you just had every guest sort of walking through the restaurant.
So this is people who aren't dining at Toppolino'S Terrace, people who are staying at Riviera or have just decided they want to have a nice view of the fireworks outside of the park, can come in, walk through the restaurant, open the doors, let all the cold air. It's obviously February, so there's a chill in the air at night.
There's a big old draft that come through, because as soon as, like I say, obviously everyone was doing that, but then as soon as the fireworks finished, there obviously people have been camping out before because we hadn't seen that many come through. But once it was done, a whole load just funneled out.
That disrupted
they opened the double doors that led out to the terrace, and it just everyone
floods of people
piled out, and it was sort of just like, it wasn't very nice.
No, it just disrupted the atmosphere like tenfold. So I think the theme is, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad experience.
It was okay, and you don't expect
it was okay.
that from the signature.
No, we wouldn't rush back for dinner. We have said maybe these are teething problems.
Yeah.
So maybe in a year.
Yeah. So when we come back ourselves, we shall see what the reviews are, and we'll be keeping a close eye on it.
Yeah, because like we said, it wasn't bad. It was all just okay. And I think when you've been to Turf Club the night before, which as we said was a 1 credit meal, was not signature, and that felt more signature and luxury than an actual signature restaurant, it's just not good. Right now we couldn't, and we tweeted about it last night, and someone actually came back and was very strong-willed on the fact that they'd had a phenomenal experience there. So this is just our experience. We're not discounting anyone else's experience. This is just what we experienced last night. On our experience, we could not currently recommend you to use your 2 credits per person or your hard-earned money for a signature meal there,
because it was $124
it would have been,
not including tip.
And if you've got a family, like that's a lot of money. So right now we could not recommend it to you. There's much better places on property. Yeah, just our experience, we couldn't say to you go there. Which is a shame, because I was so I thought it was going to be one of my favourite meals of the trip.
Yeah.
So I'm really disappointed. I'm really sad about it. But we wanted to give you guys our honest thoughts on it, just in case. Obviously, it's new. You might have been thinking about going there. So
bog standard clear. That is our opinion. Do as you will.